Hello, my name is Nikhil Prasad, and today I'm going to be doing my this interview for my education studies class. The assignment is called Education Investigation, and my research is about how poor mental health affects post-secondary students and how that impacts them personally. And the reason for choosing my interviewee is because it brings a perspective to marginalized, racialized groups, and I want to see how those groups are impacted by poor mental health or mental health in general. Not really poor, but I want to see how that affects them personally. And my first question is, can you please tell me about yourself or your background and what you study?
So my name's Upkar. I was born in India. I'm Sikh, and I'm currently at TMU for computer engineering.
How was the transition from high school to university?
So obviously it was really tough. In a high school, the days for me personally, they went a lot quicker, and you had friends around. You were able to talk to teachers. The workload was a lot less in grade 12. We had a spare in grade 12. Assignments, teachers can be flexible. In university, the teachers are not flexible at all. When something's due, it's due. If you maybe be late even by like 10 minutes, they'll just give you a 0. The workload is a lot harder. The days are longer. Sometimes I'll end at like 6 p.m. really late, and I get home, I have to do more work. It's just a lot tougher.
So would you say, like, you said the days are longer, but how are your courses looking like? Because I know
So calculus. So I have calculus, physics, chemistry, and introduction to engineering.
So all tough.
Yeah, all the tough courses.
All like doing
exactly all like the math, the sciences and stuff. So, for calc, I have weekly quizzes. I have a weekly quiz online, and then I have a weekly quiz in person. Linear algebra, same thing. I have a quiz online, quiz in person. Physics, I have labs every week. Introduction to engineering, I have basically weekly assignments. They're pretty hard as well. It's nothing easy. It's not just a normal assignment. A lot of coding and stuff. And chemistry, same thing. I have weekly assignments. Yeah, okay, it's a lot more work.
So basically, your whole week is.
My whole week's done. Yeah, just because all this work, I have to make sure I hand it on time. I can't risk anything.
So do you have any free time or?
Not really. I might have like an hour to go to the gym. That's about it.
So compared to high school.
Compared to high school, I'd be able, maybe I could see my friends in the middle of the day. Hit the gym. Come home, maybe play some video games or something. Do what I enjoy. But nowadays, I can't really do that.
So, would you say like high school prepared you for university?
So, work-wise, like from what I'm learning, that yes. But in terms of how much work is being like just shot at me, not at all. Because it's just a lot more. It's like almost double the work that I was getting, maybe even more.
Because I know right now we're week 4 in.
Yeah, we're week 4
and midterms are coming up.
It's already. I have one next week. It's really really fast. All of a sudden, in high school wasn't as the pace was just pretty slow, calm. Make sure you learn the stuff. Yeah.
So I know from your 5 courses right now compared to high school.
Yeah, first semester I had 2 courses actually. I had a spare, and then second semester I had 1 online course and then 3 in-person courses. It was just. The amount that I had all in total in grade 12, and that's 1 semester for me. And university. It's pretty crazy. Yeah.
So it's a lot.
It's too much.
Okay.
Way too much.
So could you please describe your typical school routine, such as eating, your social life, and your work and sleeping?
Yeah, so I wake up at 6 in the morning, 3 out of the 5 days I go. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I have to wake up at 6. And then Monday I end around 3 p.m. I have to take a shower. I have to leave my house by 7 to catch my 7:20 train. That's a 20-minute drive to the GO station. And then the train itself, it can be around 40 minutes. And then I have to take a few more subways and then I actually get to my university finally.
So how long is like the typical commute?
I'll say it can get as much as an hour 30, somewhere just around that,
So you have to wake up at 6 a.m. to get to your reading class?
Exactly,
okay.
Exactly, yeah.
So just to bring it back to high school, like compare how was
high school was pretty close to me. It was just a simple 7-minute drive. It was really easy. I could wake up fairly early, honestly, compared to fairly late. I mean, I'd wake up at 7:30. I have a class at 8. I can just take a quick shower and just go to school. Now I have to wake up basically 2 hours before.
So how was your work? I mean, we already covered your work. How's your social life compared to?
So it's a lot worse because in high school I see my friends every single day. Nowadays I see my friends basically once every 2 weeks. That's being generous. There's some friends I haven't seen since summer break ended. It's mentally it's really it affects me very negatively. you know. So my friends, they would always help me, you know. We would always help each other. We'd get, you know, get each other, you know, motivated to do work, you know. We'll all be, you know, helping each other out. And now that university has started, I don't see them at all. You know, it's really negatively impacting my health. Yeah.
And then how's sleeping like? So I know you
So
said you
yeah.
were like,
So since I wake up at 6 in the morning, I try to sleep around 9 p.m. But that never happens
but like
because of how much work I have.
Yeah,
exactly.
I was gonna say how.
So usually, you know, I'll get home after, you know, look over my lectures. You know, if I have any extra homework, I would do that. Sometimes, even if I have to wake up at 6 in the morning, sometimes I'll sleep at like 2, 3. Literally.
So it's like 4.
Exactly. On Monday, I slept at 3 a.m. because I was doing an assignment. And then I woke up at 6, and it was so hard to get through the Monday day because I ended at 3 p.m. that day as well. I was just super drained, you know. I couldn't really.
How many lectures do you have in that?
So I'm talking about my Wednesday specifically. So my Wednesday, every single course I've taken, I have a lecture or tutorial for that. So, you know, I'll wake up, I'll have a calculus lecture, I'll have my physics lecture, then I'll have my linear algebra lecture, I'll have my engineering lecture, the introduction one, then I'll have chemistry, all just basically just back to back. I have a little 2-hour gap in there, but, you know, I can't relax. I have to do more work again to make sure. If I have like a quiz or something that day, you know.
Just to clarify, this is Wednesday. So
This is just, yeah.
just Wednesday.
This is Wednesday. And Monday is really bad too. You know, Monday's pretty similar, but instead of ending at 6 p.m., I end at 3. You know, it doesn't really help, you know, much.
So you get barely any sleep, and then you're there all day doing
Exactly.
And you only have a 2-hour break?
Yeah.
But you're not even enjoying your break.
I can't, exactly. You know, and over the weekend, it stacks up a lot, you know. Like, if I, you know, finally the weekend will come around, I try sleeping, you know, I set an alarm, you know, make sure, because I have work to do. I slept past the alarm. I slept like 13 hours that day. It was crazy. It was horrible. You know?
So that's like your body needed to recover.
Exactly. I can tell the effects, you know, over the week. I can just tell that my body's slowly like deteriorating, you know. It's horrible.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah.
So what resources are available at your school to help you as far as mentally, like guidance counselors? Like,
So yeah, so we have guidance counselors, you know, you can go to them, talk to them. But I don't even go as far as saying my high school guidance counselor better. Cause,
oh, really?
So the university ones, they don't seem genuine, you know. They'll tell you some tips, you know, they'll give you like a helpline or something, like a website that shows tips on how to get through, you know, university. But in my opinion, personally, it doesn't help at all. You know, I have a friend, he's the same as me, you know, he's sick, he's brown, and he tried calling one of these. He just said it didn't help whatsoever, you know. They treat every student as they're all the same, you know. They'll give the same advice to someone else, and they'll give the same advice to someone else. They don't realize they have different lives, you know.
That's not.
It's
how
horrible. It
works
sucks. Because in high school, you know, you can get close to the guidance counselor. You know, they're not dealing with as many students. You can talk to them. You have a personal connection with them. You know, they'll help you out. Even if you have family problems, they'll help you out. You know, it's just, you know, the university ones, they're not genuine. I would expect them to be better, but they just suck. Yeah.
What is there any other resources available?
Yeah. So you can have a security guard walking with you if you feel like, you know, you feel unsafe. And I want to bring this thing up. So recently, literally, I think about a week and a half ago, there was a security guard. He was in our main like learning center, and he picked up a student and threw her onto the ground, and I was blown away. A student, yeah.
What does the student mean?
Student, she might like. First of all, I want to say in any circumstance, you shouldn't pick up a student and just throw them. You know.
Yeah, because
even if she was being mean or something, you know, throwing them is just insane. You know.
Well, what happened to that security guard?
They got fired. Yeah, but you know, they didn't really act up upon you. They didn't like apologize. Really.
What team you didn't like do?
They're literally on the team Instagram page. You can check for yourself. You know, they'll post something, and all the people in the comments would be like talking about how are you letting someone do this to a student? You know, how'd you hire them? Like, how did they get this job in the first place? You know, they don't really know what can happen if they're just walking around. Yeah.
So to conclude,
this is horrible. You know, it feels dangerous. It feels really dangerous. Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Thank you for letting me know. So I'm moving on to my next set of questions. Yeah. These are more research for. That was my other question was for background information to get to know you, get to know a little bit like about how your transitions in them. But this is for my research.
Okay.
So the first question is, what type of challenges do you face when pursuing your education?
So, there's a lot of factors I can pursue my education. So first of all, lack of sleep. Horrible. That can affect my work like an incredible amount. In high school, I get full sleep. You know, I'll do a test. I'll be fully confident, you know, I wouldn't have like brain fog or anything. The lack of sleep, as it adds up over the week, I can tell when I'm doing my assignments, you know, I'll make stupid mistakes, you know, and I'm, you know, for the time when like a midterm or something comes around, I don't know if, you know, I don't know if it's really gonna.
You're nervous.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna mess up somewhere. I'm constantly overthinking if I'm doing this or that. You know, it's just really horrible.
So compared to like a regular like high school test, like, you had that in the bag.
I'd study. We had time. You know, I just a lot more confident in my work. You know, I didn't have anything really affecting me.
Is there lots of anxiety or depression?
Plenty of anxiety. There's
like
mentally, like, as you, like, you know, I know that I got myself into this program, right? You know, I got the grades and stuff, but sometimes I think to myself, like, am I really meant for this, right? It's like, you know, do I have it in me to do this? There's plenty of times I thought, well, what if I drop out and just work for my dad, you know? It's just, you know, it's really tough on the mind.
But obviously that's not.
Obviously, it's not.
That shouldn't be the case.
It shouldn't be the case. I got myself here, you know. I had the grades good enough to get into this program, but you know, the self-doubt really, you know, university and all the just impacts that's around, you know, it really affects me.
So my next question is, how has your personal relationship been affected since you started post-secondary?
So, when summer began, right, for going to university, I would see my friends every single day. We would go outside, you know, we'd play basketball, we'd hit the gym together, we'd eat food together, watch movies. I would see these guys every single day, and that might be like the best part of my life. Like, that summer, my mental health was in the best spot it's ever been. And then, now going into university, I can argue and say that's been like in the worst position it's ever been in my life. So, you know, I don't see these guys at all, you know. A lot of my friends I haven't seen since summer ended. And, you know, it negatively affects me a lot. I'll be doing my work and I'll be like, you know, I don't see them anymore, you know. Like, it really makes me sad and it affects me just horribly.
So those are your friends about how? What about your family?
My family. So so during summer, same thing. I'll see my family every single day. You know, I'll say hi to everyone. You know, we'll eat together. We'll talk together. Like a large part of my day was just, you know, me interacting with my family. You know, just doing stuff we love. And then now university started. A lot of the times there'll be 3-day spans where I don't see my mom or my dad because our schedules are so different now. So, you know, I'll wake up at 6. And then my dad will wake up 1 hour later. Mm-hmm. And my mom will wake up 1 hour later. Mm-hmm. And I don't see them in the morning. And then I'll come home. It'll be like 6 p.m. as well. Once again, my mom could be at work still. My dad will still be at work. I'll be home and I have to go right away just do work. You know, I might be able to say, you know, hello, you know, nice to see you guys.
But no interaction.
Nothing, literally. You know, it's just
family bonding.
It's horrible, yeah. You know, a lot of times, sometimes I won't even eat dinner because I have work to do. And I can't eat with my family
either. So you just skip dinner completely?
Yeah, sometimes I'll skip meals if I have to get work done. Like,
really?
Genuinely,
That's
yeah. It's horrible. It's horrible mentally. It's horrible. It's really bad.
Not just mentally, but physically.
Physically too, yeah. Like in the summer, you know, I was in the gym every single day, making sure I was getting my meals in. As soon as university started, I could tell. Like I'm getting weaker. You know, meals are being skipped. You know, this is not good. It's horrible.
So overall, like,
the worst. Like, this is probably the most busy I've been, worst I've been mentally. You know, just
keep in mind, we're only on week 4.
Yeah, this is only week 4. We have another 3 years of this, so, you know. Yeah.
My next question is, how has your mental health affected your grades?
Yeah, once again, so, you know, not seeing my friends, not seeing my family, lack of sleep. I can just tell that my work quality is just, you know, is going down and down, you know. And then, you know, sometimes you can see, you know, you can blame it on the student, you know, though they're not getting their sleep in, but I'm generally trying my hardest to balance my life as great as possible. And even then, I'm not getting sleep. I'll go to a lecture and I won't be able to pay attention properly.
Because of that lack of sleep.
Exactly, the lack of sleep. You know, it adds up. I'll have the Wednesday, especially. The Wednesday was horrible. You know, end at 6 p.m. I won't get much sleep the night before. I'll go into a lecture. I'll just space out. I won't know what they're talking about sometimes. You know, and then I'll have to go home, go over that again, and just adds up.
So there's even more time.
Adding on to that. Exactly. Yeah. Horrible. Yeah.
So what were your grades like in high school?
So yeah, high school, you know, I had like a 88 average around it throughout the whole year. You know, there was time to designate time to like specific courses. You know, if I had test, quiz, I would make sure I can fully focus on that because there won't be a quiz the next day, you know. There won't be a test till like the next week. And then in university, they'll put stuff back to back if they want, you know. I'll have a midterm on the 3rd and I'll have another midterm a week after. And especially in university, you need time to study for these, right? So, in high school, grades were good, you know, I was happy. And then going to university, I can just tell, you know, grades are, I'm like a 70 right now. I'm generally trying my hardest. And I can see, like, sometimes I lose motivation. I can be like, you know, I can settle for a 60 maybe, you know, let me just pass the course. In high school, my mindset was, try my hardest.
And you would
I'll do good, exactly.
Trying your hardest.
Now I'm trying my hardest and I'm still just like, this, you know, it's bad.
So could you could you possibly say like the correlation of you being happy in high school and like making time like
Yeah, for sure.
equals better grades? And
Yeah, exactly. You know,
let's say now because you're tired and and all that anxiety and stuff.
Yeah,
it's just really like
in high school, you know, seeing everyone, you know, to study with your friends, you know, is pretty effective too. You know, you can bond with them and you can get your work done. University, you can't do that.
Oh yeah, you don't even. You said before you can't even see your friends. So even like when you are studying and you are doing that, you're at least you're in a happy place.
Exactly. You know, I'm surrounded by people I love and stuff. You know, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. But again, I guess that isolation really takes a toll on you.
Horribly, especially when I'll finish a long day of university and I'll just be in my room, like, you know, PC in front of me, have my iPad, I'm just constantly just writing. You know, it's almost like I don't see the sun sometimes. That's what it feels like, at least, you know. It just feels like I'm isolated like a dungeon. It's horrible.
Just doing work.
Yeah, even if I try to change the environment and go to the library, it feels the same thing, you know. It's horrible.
My next question is, if you have access to any support systems offered at your school, what was the experience like and how did you feel after that experience? I know you covered that.
Yeah, I briefly went over. Yeah. So I want to be a bit more specific. So the guidance counselors, sometimes, so once again, I tell you, you know, they're not really genuine. You know, they think they treat every student the same, and sometimes you won't be able to get a chance to talk to a guidance counselor or something because there'll be a lineup, almost for a bunch of people trying to go, right? And then sometimes you might have to wait days or weeks, and by then your health is just slowly getting worse. You know, it's not really doing anything. There should be onset. Oh, I need help right now, kind of type of thing. You know?
But I thought they had helplines or.
That's it's just not useful. You know, they'll give you a website or something. You know, it's not it's not genuine at all. You know, it's horrible.
So you've done that personally?
Yeah, I've gone to a guidance counselor. They just, you know, they're like, oh, try to balance your life, this, that. Same thing I've been told in high school, you know. I can search. I feel like I can go online and find better advice. It's just, you know.
So you would prefer
I'd prefer being on TikTok and then getting, you know, searching up, you know, how to, you know, get through university. They give much better advice. I'm gonna be serious. To be honest, it feels like they just don't care. TMU, and they're, you know.
Thank you. That must be hard.
It's really hard.
So my last question is, before we end off this interview, so what role do you think university environment plays when shaping a student's mental health? Yeah.
So for me personally, I go to, you know, TMU's in downtown Toronto.
There's no, clarify, there's no set campus or...
Not at all, yeah, no, it's kind of just
like Toronto, right?
Yeah, it kind of just feels like you're just going into a building. So you're in the middle of in the middle of the city, kind of feel like you're going to an office or something. You know, it doesn't feel special. You know, most campuses you know, Laurier, UFT, it's a, you know, fully set campus. It's only students, right? Mm-hmm. You know, it's there'll be a library over here, you know, the class over here, this, that. In Toronto, you know, you have a learning center. You have to walk in a movie theater for a lecture, and then you have to walk 15 minutes the other way into Toronto to get to another place. You know, it doesn't feel like a campus at all. You know, that kind of have, you know, on mental health especially, it'll have a crazy toll on you.
So if you said it 15 minutes from building to building, so do you have any back-to-back classes?
Yeah, that's the worst part. So they try to be a bit lenient on it. So, you know, they won't start the class until 10 minutes. So if it's at 2, it'll start at 2:10. Okay. But even then, I get late sometimes.
Because you said that. Yeah, imagine if your class from
it's not just it's not just a clear walk. There's a bunch of cars everywhere. Mm-hmm. Toronto's really congested. You know, there'll be cars going past red lights. You know, there'll be random ambulances going down the road and clogging up the road. And then a lot of the classes end at the same time. All the students are rushing out all at once. And sometimes the escalator one time, the escalator stopped, right? Mm-hmm. And then people were going down. A bunch of people just tumbled on top of each other. It was crazy. It was so congested.
You saw that?
Luckily I somehow stood up, right? I was able to stand up. But people in front of me, they were falling on top of each other. It was bad.
Because the escalator stopped.
Yeah, exactly. Just randomly stopped working. You know, all the students are there.
It was a very hectic environment.
Very hectic, and you know, mentally it's just not great. You know, you'll have a day of you don't have a lot of sleep. You have to commute an hour and a half. You go to downtown Toronto, it's already hectic, right? You go into your lecture, you're tired. You come out, bunch of even more students. You have to walk 15 minutes to your next class. It's just really tough.
I want to say, even with I hate to bring up high school again, but I feel like I need to because they would help you so much compared to a university lecture hall. A teacher in high school, they get to know you personally.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're going tired. You're being tired. Yeah. All commuting, like you said, building to building. Mm-hmm. You go to your lecture hall, you can't even really comprehend information. But on top of that, the prof doesn't really know you.
Exactly. I was gonna say in high school you can have close relationships with teachers. And in grade 11, there's a teacher. His name is Mr. Mubashir. great guy. You know, he helped me and my other friend. He was saying, you guys can start a business, genuinely. He was telling us like genuinely good things. He was telling us about taxes, you know, make 100K, you know, they'll cut off a lot of your money. He was giving us genuine tips, like person to person, like, yo, this, you can do this and you can be successful, you know. Just giving us general tips. University, you can't know these professors that well. You might be able to go during their office hours, but that's gonna be to talk about like the work specifically, not just like a person-to-person conversation.
Have you been in the office?
I've gone once. A lot of students waiting.
Mm-hmm.
You go, you can ask like, oh, and a lot of the times they're already like tired of all these students coming in and out, right? And like, a lot of the times, you know, they'll say, oh, this is how you do this, how you do that, you know, this is what to expect for this, that. But, you know, it's just, it feels kind of like you're talking like a robot.
So it's not like a genuine...
It's not a genuine conversation because they're getting these students in, like a lot of students are walking in, walking out. They can't get to know every single, like each one student, but that's the thing. In university, it's, you know, it sucks.
So you would go to your prof and like, you would have that interaction and feel like it's a robotic interaction.
Mm-hmm. I'll say like, good morning, sir. How are you? They'll say the same thing back. You know, how are you? I'm like, I'm doing good. And then we just have to get straight into, you know, what I genuinely want to know. You know, there's not enough time. It's like maybe like a few minutes just to ask, you know, what's going on. You know, it's just, you can't get to know these people. And in high school, I feel like a lot of times you can tell the teacher, oh, you're not feeling well, or, you know, you're not feeling like this. And they'll understand. They'll be like, okay, it's fine. You know, you don't have to, you can submit this like a day later. In university, no, you can't do that.
There's no excuses out.
And like, same thing with the guidance counselors. In high school, we had a guidance counselor. He was loved by everyone. You know, his he had a yellow dog as well. You know, people would go into his class just to talk to him, you know, about like personal issues and stuff, and he would help like crazy amount. He was loved by the whole school. University is not even like remotely close. These guidance counselors are just horrible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Okra. That was a good interview. Thank you for taking your time out of your day and conducting this interview.